right back, Charlie's definitely.
There's always just that attitude when like defenders, I think, it's like.
And we're back. Second live stream of the day. Big up you lot on Twitch. Big up you lot on YouTube. People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now the football is back this week. And I think we have to beat Nottingham Forest. You know, one thing, Arsenal don't lose too many games. But, I mean, when we take an L or a draw, they seem to come in bunches. And Nottingham Forest is a difficult outfit. They're a stubborn outfit. I know Nuno Espirito Santo is kind of at war with the owner or Edu, give or take. But they're a stubborn outfit. They can kill you on the counter-attack. They're very stubborn and rigid. We lost to Liverpool. We need to claw these points back. And again, we know the start to our season, our first 6 to 10 games are mad. And our first 3 games, you know what, we've had two wins and a loss, 6 points from 9. It's not the best, because the best would have been 9 for 9, but it could be a lot worse. All we can do is keep going in it. And now everything's about to get real in it. Like, everything's about to get real. You've got the League Cup against Port Vale to come into it next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. We've got Bilbao. Obviously, we've got a big game against Forest at the weekend. Next weekend we've got Man City. So now the games are coming thick and fast, and it's going to test everyone. It's going to test Mikel Arteta, going to test every one of these players individually, going to test the whole squad, because at this moment in time, we're 3 games into the season. Kai Havertz, William Saliba, actually Norgard, Benjamin White, Bukayo Saka have knocks and niggles, and we're praying, we've got everything crossed, that everybody returns from whatever country they're representing during this period. They return back to London and there's no issues. And even that, to be honest with you, I know you know, football is different and different teams and things like that, but whether you've been genuinely watching the games or just browsing the highlights and stuff, you know, where you look at Zubimendinho, as I call him, where you look at Mikel Merino, who obviously scored a hat-trick, it's like these players look so different when they're playing for their countries. Now, maybe it's the people they're playing with, maybe it's the coaching philosophy and the ethos, maybe, you know, other players are making them look good. I don't know, people. I don't know. Especially Mikel Merino. I think he's a decent player to have in the squad, but we're not exposed to that Mikel Merino that we saw for Spain in the Premier League. Is it a culture thing? Is it just the way football and life is in England versus how football is when he's with his countrymen, or the Spanish ethos around things, in which our manager is Spanish, so maybe we could do things like that? But it's interesting, man. It's an interesting dynamic, man. They actually, in all honesty, there ain't even that much to really speak about, if I'm completely honest. Nonetheless, the show must go on, people. So if you give me a second, we'll read whatever headlines there are in the tabloids and things of that ilk at this moment in time. Now, if we skip to we'll discuss that, but and we'll leave that over there. But yeah, man, obviously, big up Madueke, who technically got an assist for his involvement in an own goal, and big up Declan Rice for scoring. And I must admit, that ball from Reece James and the header from Rice, we love to see it, man. We love to see the Arsenal boys. And, you know, Miles Lewis-Skelly, love to see him get another England cap. Be nice to see him on the pitch in Arsenal colours this season. Not that Calafiori's put a foot wrong. Declan Rice scored, and Noni Madueke provided an assist in England's 2-0 victory over Andorra, as 4 of our players started for the Three Lions. Eze, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Madueke, Declan Rice. England slowly but surely are being taken over by Arsenal. Gyökeres was in action for Sweden, as we know, people. He did get an assist. Calafiori got 90 minutes under his belt playing for Italy now. Calafiori is one of them that I'm looking at, because you are one that, like when we had Thomas Partey, Mikel Merino, I'm cool that you'll return in one piece. Calafiori is one that I'm like, oh, to be fair, anytime as much as I like Calafiori, you just want to wrap him in cotton wool, if I'm completely honest with you. Big up yourself, Rashid, man. Trust me, you're back on the platform soon. Just give me time. Merino doesn't even know he's a 6th striker. I mean, you know what? Yeah, when we get beyond it, did we learn anything? We know he's, and I'm not trying to gas it, but we know he's an intelligent footballer. We know he's technically sound. We know he can understand systems. We know he can, I hate this word, but box crash and get into the box. We know all of that. But we see that in an Arsenal shirt? Is he a better forward than Kai Havertz? Mikel Merino better than Kai Havertz? For me, probably is. or I like to see it up front. Is he a better striker than Gyökeres? Now, I do think people do too much where they discuss Gyökeres, if I'm honest with you, in our general play. My unpopular take on Victor Gyökeres, just because it's in the title, I think he's adapted to Arsenal. I think Arsenal, and specifically Mikel Arteta, needs to adapt to him. Obviously, I know people don't. I wasn't watching Sporting Lisbon week in, week out, but if you was watching any of the games, he might not be the most glamorous in general play and get 1,000,000 goals and 1,000,000 assists, but can he drop into midfield? Yes. Is his link up play good? Yes. Does he move? Can he occupy the centre halves, which he's been doing 100%? Can he move out into wide areas? Yes. Can he press? Yes. You've exposed me to all of that. You fitted in that regard. Bearing in mind, clearly you're not really fully fit. I don't know how much weight this has because Mikel Merino is here, but I genuinely think if Kai Havertz was fully fit, I think he starts against Man United, which he came off the bench, but I think he starts against Man United. I think he starts against Liverpool. I think at this moment in time, Gyökeres' only start probably would have been Leeds, right? But yeah, you could argue Merino, Kai Havertz, even a Gabriel Jesus, all the other traditional, like all of the roles in the modern day that's demanded of a striker, they can do that. What's the most difficult thing to do in football? Put the ball in the back of the net. Gyökeres can do that. So I think Gyökeres has adapted. I think Mikel Arteta needs to adapt to him because you're trying to, and I know there's certain things that have to stay the same way and all of that, but you've got a striker that can score goals in his sleep. Put him in scenarios, and if we're honest, what have we seen from Gyökeres? Not even his fault. We've seen you we've seen you score a penalty, great. We've seen you score a magnificent solo effort, gassing it a bit against Leeds. But if we're expecting him to do that in the 30-odd games left, we're in issues. How many there's been no clear-cut chances? This is what I mean by you could slap Isaac, Sesko, which some people wanted, Gyökeres, doesn't matter who's up front. Until this system creates tap-ins for this forward or any of them, this is the issue. Now, Mikel Arteta defensively was sound. Midfield, I think there's teething issues, but I'd describe it as a 5, 6 out of 10. Our biggest concerns are in the final third. And there's many ways of defending. We can take the tempo out of games. We can go fast or go slow. Ask the galley. I can do that, Brown, and shout me. I'm being silly, but we can up or decrease the tempo, right? Defense, we can press from the front. We can, we can do mid and low blocks. We can do all of that stuff. We're very good defensively. But they always say attack is a form of defense. And I never get that vibe. Like, we've got all the other facets that go into defending. We don't have that one under our locker. And I would like to see that a bit. Now, obviously, these things could cost you. But I think my frustrations with the Liverpool game, as a fan, I think Liverpool and Arsenal at this moment in time, yes, you never want to play at Anfield, but this was the right kind of time to play them. I think on reflection, last couple of times we've gone at Anfield, we're doing a lot better. Still not winning, but we're doing a lot better. I think in terms of the last 3, maybe even 4 trips to Anfield, that was the most beatable I think Liverpool was. And if we just had a bit of bravery, if we just said, you know what, Madueke, not so much Martinelli, but Madueke, this one, that one, stay further up the field. We've got Rice surrounding and protecting. We've got Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba. Yes, no matter how good your defenders are, you don't want to leave them exposed. But we can bet on that. We might lose a bit of defensive stability, but we might be able to cause them issues. Sometimes I think we're in this trap of we're thinking too much about the system. We're thinking too much about how we have to defend against them. Of course, definitely Martinelli is not Mohamed Salah. But if we just look at football, the man's got legs. No matter how much their fullbacks want to fly forward, put him in scenarios where, if nothing more, Martinelli is making Szoboszlai's hamstring get pulled, really and truly. More so with Madueke, obviously with Gyökeres. And big up Lee Judges. Check out the stream I did earlier. He made a good point, to be honest, and it went over my head in that. I get it before the game. Me, I would have started Eze. I'm at that point now. I don't care if you're playing him left back, 8, 10, left wing. Just slap the man on the pitch in it. I'm that way now. Like I'm at that, and I hear it. System, all of them, all that jazz there. But even that with Eze, yeah, it's not like Gyökeres. Gyökeres ain't had preseason, don't know the league. I look at Eze now. You're playing on the Glasner, or you was playing on the Glasner. He's shown he can play a back 4, back 3. They're on the back foot of a lot of games. You have to be switched on tactically, right? You've had the preseason. Unleash Donny. But I understand, even though I feel like that, I understand going into the game. All right, Odegaard might not be fully fit. Eze's not fully fit. Let's just set up how we set up as the game goes on. Let's gamble a bit. So I understand the frustrations. Me as a fan, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because when I strip the fact of what I just said about Liverpool, I think that's something you're lacking, Mikel Arteta. You've shown me you can plan, but we don't go against the script. And I do think we've become a bit readable. Had you have gone for it and we gambled a bit against Liverpool and we still lost, of course I'd be frustrated. Of course there'd be question marks. But I would say, you know what? there's a number of times that I've seen that and had those same feelings. We might have got done dirty at Anfield or done ourselves dirty, but there might be the same scenario at the Etihad, at St. James's Park, at home against Nottingham Forest, and that gambling might kind of pay off if I'm honest with you. And again, Lee actually said it, and it echoed the points I've said in that we've had a small squad for a while now. Arteta has complained about that, right, guys? We've had a small squad for a while. Even when everybody's fit, 9 times out of 10, give or take, we know the 11 that's going out there. At a push in the present day, is it Calafiori or Lewis Skelly? Is it White or Timber? Probably we're tired of both and exclude Eze. At a push, is it Martinelli? Is it Trossard? And if Trossard's on the bench, then he's probably one of 3 players that are going to come on. Now you've gone the other way in that you've got more options than you can count. And you went with Merino, not necessarily the worst, not the best, but not the worst way to definitely not the worst, but not the best way to go at Anfield. You had Nwaneri. Now, Nwaneri could have went at Anfield, got overblown, looks like an 18-year-old. You could have went with Eze and it didn't bang. You could have bet on Martin Odegaard for at least 45 minutes. Okay, half-time, we get in. How you feeling, Martin? You all right? You got 15 minutes to now show me something. And Lee made a great point in that it was kind of like, it's not like for like changes, but it was kind of like for like changes in that Odegaard. Nothing, I'm not criticizing Arteta or Odegaard at this moment, can't past it, but he didn't really try, we're just keeping it ticking. Like, if the pass ain't on, you're not forcing it. You're a creative player, and we know Odegaard where we're at with him, but you're not really forcing the issue. Eze, cool, kind of like for like with Martinelli, so you're not really messing up the structure of how things are operating. Even if you went, sounds mad, but take off Gyökeres, go with Merino, because I do think Slot at half-time that made the difference. Those, in hindsight, that 15 minutes at half-time and definitely the first 20 minutes of the second half, long before the ball went in, that's where I need my gaffer to do a bit better, because I wonder, Slot, he gambled. He said, Szoboszlai, go further up. They made certain changes, even the way Gravenberch was receiving the ball from his defensive line. They made certain changes with the initial players. That's before we talk about Curtis Jones. But how much of them changes did Slot make in confidence of, okay, I've got it wrong. This is how we're going to get something out of the game against Arsenal. So that's one. But how much added confidence did he get and say, right, you know what, Mikel, you're not going to change nothing. Everything Mikel Arteta has done has got us to this point, It's got us to this point. Like being good defensively, mid-block, low-block, set pieces. I just think we need to keep those things, but add other facets. Now, the double-edged sword is you get clocked, you get found out. For a number of years, people know what we're doing. We're going to go be patient, down the left, down the right. When Saka's there, there's probably more individualism down that right. Left-hand side is more of a tactical thing. We're not really going to bet the gears. We're never going to switch from an inverted left back to just a traditional fullback line. And that's where I think we're at. I'm not saying we need to change everything, but just to keep people guessing, just to be a bit more unpredictable. And now, Arteta, you've got more options than you can count. You got so many. I'm not saying I agree with this, but there's an avenue for Merino to play in that kind of Odegaard role, more so as a striker. There's scope for obviously Eze, which we want to see, Odegaard, what we want to see, Nwaneri, which we want to see. There's certain things you can do in midfield. There's certain things you could do individually and collectively. So you've gone from things are picking themselves to more options than you can count. And you see even though there's injuries, you see when you've got bare options, like you could have went with Nwaneri, you could have went with Eze, you could have went with Odegaard, you could have dropped one of Rice and either dropped Eze or drop Rice or Zubamendi and have one lone 6. You didn't do any of that. Now, it's 3 games in. You might do that, but you didn't do that. So that tells me where your head is at. You're going to pick the safe option. Unfortunately, in life, as you lot know, no risk, no reward, So, yeah, we need to do things different. Run up the likes. BR, appreciate you, man. I gassing Merino. I don't think people are gassing Merino, but I'm speaking for Arsenal fans. I think fans are a bit disingenuous with Merino. I think some man move like he's mad shit. Some man move like he's so elite. If you can't see what he's doing, you don't understand football. I wouldn't have bought you. I'm keen to see how long you actually last at Arsenal. I do like you, though. I think you stand up tall when you're required. I prefer you up front, like actually starting up front and dropping into midfield, not midfield and you're linking up. I'm at that point now, like, if I'm honest with you, we all know the players that we rate. We all know the players that are not good enough. But we've got tools. Put the tools in the right scenarios. Like Martinelli, granted, you might have had to play him against Liverpool. But Martinelli, that's a squad player thing. Martinelli, his decision-making is pony. But if we was 1-0 up against Liverpool, I might be calling for Martinelli for 2 options. Liverpool, if they go down, the fans are going to start going, the players are going to go for it. They're going to fly their fullbacks forward. So think about it logically. Not that I'm Mikel Arteta, and I definitely managed against Arne Slot. But let's say I'm the Arsenal manager. We're a goal up, couple hairy moments at Anfield. We're hanging in there. Slot is saying, you know what? It's 1-0 to them. I'd rather lose I'd rather lose 2-0 or 2-1. We're going for it. Obviously, you're going to gamble. You're either going to take off a left back or a right back and get another attacker on and maybe tell Gravenberch or something, just be aware of the space. Or you're going to say, oh, maybe if Frimpong was there, fly forward. Logically, if Liverpool are going for the game, that's where I'm saying draw for Martinelli, because either he is the only thing he seems to be good for, you're going to help us defend with Salah, or we just tell you go forward. Martinelli's problem is his decision making. What he is a problem if you're a fullback. You don't want to play against pace, especially when it's the 60th minute, second half. That's where I'm calling for it. Mikel Merino. There's certain scenarios, maybe not start at Anfield, but there's certain scenarios you could be utilized. I'm at the point now where I think we need our own personality now. We need to wonder about how we can harm teams now. Like, it's not, I very rarely, obviously teams do it. You're going to have to double up against Eze. If you don't, you're in problems. You definitely do that against Bukayo Saka. And Gyökeres, boy, it's been a tough start, isn't it, man? You've played against 3 centre-halves against United. Yes, we scored 5 goals against Leeds, but I still think those creative issues are there. We're not creating. And to be honest, I said before the game, I'm not expecting Gyökeres to do anything of note against Liverpool. You're against Van Dijk and obviously Konate. I'm looking at my wide men or the late runners kind of to benefit. But this is where Arteta needs to try different things, man. No, you missed the convo. The convo is, why is this guy scoring 3 goals, looking good by Arsenal? It's meaty. System, innit? And I think we're too system regards, man. Fair, the comments about Eze after a while, though. To be fair, though, I must admit, yeah, I do think people are doing too much. I would say to Mikel Arteta, any of the players at Arsenal, unfortunately, I would say Arsenal and Man United, yeah, like these men will say things, and it's not necessarily wrong, but you might ask me something, and I've replied I've replied like a paragraph. The media are just going to latch onto a sentence, take it out. Look at David Raya. They asked David Raya about the football. They cut out the bits where he said, I don't really care about the ball. Everyone's got to get on with it. Then there was a moment how the man's a goalie. The football might be different. They've taken it up and clipped it. So I'd say be wary. In isolation, I'm not against what Arteta said. Yes, Eze, you need to score them chances. You need to fucking get us that pen or put the ball in the back of the net. I understand how it's seen as, he's digging him out and things like that. My thing is this, whether he's being fair to Eze or he's scapegoating Eze. All right, cool. We hold that, part that off. But why am I saying that about a man that's come on in the 60th, 70 minute? Bearing in mind, football's a 90-minute game. Because we conceded 7 minutes before the game's done. We were on top of Liverpool in the first half, but our balls over the top to Madueke. We weren't doing nothing. And who else had that? Who else had that clear-cut chance? What other clear-cut chances are there? We're trying to win games on paper a bit too much. And again, the approach has got us to this point. I don't want us to deviate away from it. I want us to keep that, but add 10, 15, 20% of what we can do. Because unfortunately, football is logical. It's a numbers game. You create more chances, you're more likely to score. You win more games, you're more likely to win trophies. You get where I'm going. But there's also an added bit of why we all like football. Unimaginable moments, unexplainable moments, the randomness, whether you support Arsenal or any other team. I guarantee you, if I was to say your best attacking, your favorite players, the majority of them are probably attackers, right? Because they can do things that remind us as to why we love football. A bit like what we did where Rice has scored 2 goals against Real Madrid, that randomness. Liverpool did that. So I can't get onto the team of Szoboszlai having a great free kick, but what I can talk about is how we're losing control of the game. We need that randomness. We need that now. And I think we're in this trap of a bit even like Liverpool. Yeah, you could take the not lazy view, but yeah, we was in it. Wonderful strike. We've lost. Yes, possession, we're close. But when you look at the numbers, open play chances, shots on target, when these shots are coming, this is our issue now. We need to add that. So yeah, if Arteta wants to get onto Eze, get onto Eze. But then where's the other chances? Where's the other chances? Because again, it's the tools now. I might not necessarily I'm a big fan of Martinelli, but I might not rate him as much as I used to rate him. It's a Brazilian international there. You've got, a Swedish striker, new, fresh, 50, 60 odd million quid that scores goals for fun. You've got Eze. You've got excited Noni. You've got excited Wanyeri. You've got an England international Madueke. Even if you add up all the prices, attack shouldn't be an issue. Because some of these players, whether it's Mikel Merino in light with him getting a hat trick, whether it's Eze, whether it's Gyökeres, whether even a fit Gabriel Jesus, Trossard, Martinelli, Wanyeri, Saka, whatever have you, these are not bad players. They would all get, if they were available. Obviously, not everyone will get into other top 6 sides. They will get moves, or people would have them. If Arsenal were going out of business and you offered all of our attackers to everyone else in the Prem, people would take them and they'll look a bit better. So the tools are there. Why is there a bit of a offensive tax? Sorry. That's my thing, man. Merino should start over Gyökeres hat-trick hero. Boy, But for me, Gyökeres just needs to start. How many trophies does Arteta have? 3. How many does Gyökeres have exactly? Might drop. Damn. I actually fear for Eze playing for Arteta. But Arteta, at the end of the day, you need to make it work. Because what I think is lost in translation, and even me, it's not that it's lost, but when you actually sit there and deep it, yeah, we was more excited about Eze, like homecoming. We didn't think it was going to happen. Statement signing. We're excited. We're gassed what he could bring. You know, we're having conversations. Can he play 8, 10 out wide? What does it mean for this player and that player? But when you strip it back and you get away from the excitement of Gyökeres and what could happen there, and finally getting Zubamendi and just the intriguing talking points about Madueke, Chris Mascara could obviously be good, Norgard, this, that, and the other. You know, Eze is actually our big on paper, our big money signing. He cost the most. So you're going to have to make it work. You can't play favourites. Granted, if Martinelli's form's out this world, if Odegaard's out this world, if Rice and Zubimendi out this world, great. But you can't just have him out the side. Get the man in. He's raring to go. And I'm at the point, do I think long-term Eze is a left winger? No, but there's scope. Just put the flipping man on the pitch and make them do stuff. You've got Gyökeres who pulls out wide. You've got Eze who wants to go inside. You've got Rice with legs. Bro, man, they've been in this defensive system and they're all experienced. You're smart enough, bro. And I think that's where we need to just ever so slightly take the shackles off. I always mention this. Mikel Arteta, I need you to just look at PSG and Luis Enrique. Do I think you're anywhere near Luis Enrique? No. Do I think we're near PSG? No. Obviously, with the players they've got. But all of the things I say about you, Enrique does it. He micromanages. Everybody's involved in all phases. But the difference is, Luis Enrique will sit there, okay, we're playing the opposition. We need to do this, that, and the other. I want to micromanage. I want people standing here. But then there's an element of going past that. He sits there and goes, oh, you know what? Dembele's there. Kvaratskhelia there. Fabio Ruiz, Neves. These lot are old enough, mature enough, and sensible enough. I'm going to give them 9 out of 10. I'm going to give them 9 tasks. The last task that makes 10, just go out there and have fun. You lot are old enough. You know when you need to defend. And I know there's games where that can't be the thing, but midfield free. The best example, we need to start doing stuff like that. PSG's midfield free. On paper, Neves is the deepest. I'm seeing man get hat-tricks. And sometimes he's the furthest of midfield. That's before we talk about Fabio Ruiz, who bagged against us last year, so on and so forth. So there's scope to do it. Arteta, as much as we are, and I say we because we're all in this together, you're fighting against the league and we're trying to get Arsenal to where we need to go. I genuinely think you need to be at war with yourself. I think you're at war. We have not won the Premier League in the Emirates era. We have not got over the line over you. These are the facts. So for us to get into a territory we ain't been, we need to become something we've never done. And you can't tell me you can't, because you've evolved the system numerous times since you've been here. You've shown me attacking football when the season Martinelli was good. So you have the capacity to do it. You're quote unquote choosing not to. Now, granted, 3 games in, maybe we're working on something and everything, all the ducks get in a row. But I can only comment on what I've seen. And I think I've been consistent with that last season, consistent with the 3 games I've seen. You lot were calling me mad for saying these things when we scored 5 goals against Leeds. As much as, listen, the result is always first. You always want the 3 points and dissect the performance. But sometimes the two are going to marry. And I was so passionate about this. You lot knew it. You could have Zubamendi and he could be... I actually think Zubamendi will never get the plaudits at Arsenal. You're not going to... You know, Gyökeres is a striker. He scores. Everybody loves him. Eze, Bobby Dazzler and all those kind of things. Madueke, whether he scores or has a good game, points are going to fluctuate. But it's one thing getting Zubamendi and reworking the midfield and talking about how Odegaard could benefit, Eze in the 10 or out wide, you know, the striker who scores goals for fun. It's one thing buying the clothes or buying the ingredients. It's another thing cooking or being able to have style in it. All our issues are self-inflicted. Way before, take nothing away from Liverpool, what City have been, way before I can look at them and what they're doing, we need to exhaust what we need to exhaust at this football club generally. So yeah, man, he's going to have to make it work. He's going to have to make it work, man. He 100% has to make it work. I'm excited. Merino scored a hat-trick. Imagine that. I can't lie, scoring a hat-trick for your country is a thing of dreams. His dad must be proud of him. His dad was also an international footballer. So yeah, big up Merino on that one. I was just looking at fixtures. He's been hailed as a genius, apparently. I wouldn't say that much, people, but Luis de la Fuente has called him a genius, people. Smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't. We have fantastic players, and Merino is another example of a footballer who does many things well, who is a genius, a world-class player, and sometimes doesn't get the recognition in Spain. I don't know. Well, you're clearly smart. I wouldn't go as far as say genius. Probably gassing up his player a bit, world class. I don't know about that one. Big up Double M, but I don't agree with that one. Probably, respectfully, you're not going to get the recognition in Spain. I think he scored some crucial goals for his team. I'm sure the Spanish press and the Spanish football fans, they rate him. But you look at all the stars they've got, Rodri, Yamal, you're never going to be the guy. I only think it's only now you've started to get 1-2 flowers at Arsenal Football Club. So I have to see what's going on there. It's getting on to being at 29. It's amazing. I'm absolutely buzzing about it. I'm really, really happy. It's my first hat trick. I'm not used to scoring so many goals. Scoring 3 with the national team on a night like this against a team this is magical. It is a night I'll remember for the rest of my life. Obviously, when you face an opponent like Turkey, you know it's going to be a tough game. Did you not see Yamal and Arda Güler having a bit of handbags? We know we're coming to a very tough atmosphere with crazy fans that are always supporting them. But at the same time, we're always confident we're going to win every game. We didn't expect to win by 6 goals, but we had an amazing game. We played very well from the start, respecting the opponent, giving our all, and we were lucky to score a couple of goals. Let's see what one year. I'm even mad. He's actually in action today. I was going to watch it. But I'm here with you lot, so subscribe if you haven't. Unflappable Eze vows to keep living in the moment for England. It's still surreal that you actually play for my football club. I would like to see you start, people. For me, it's fairly easy. Just spend a lot less time on social media. Look at what people are talking about and focus on what's going on now. I speak to my family and the people around me. I try to keep a tight bubble around me because I also know how exposure to those type of things can affect you. And it was before his time where he signed for Arsenal. He actually spoke about dealing with social media. I can't remember the interview for the life of me, but he spoke about it, like how I used to read comments and that. And obviously, I'm not a footballer, but even me with this content stuff, like I try my best to take on, because obviously there's constructive criticism, like there's logical people in it, but in terms of the extremes, I try not to let not even excitement. I try not to the praise can't get to me. Because if I live for you lots of applause, unfortunately, I'm going to die by your booze. And then the negative comments, like when people are, oh my God, 70K in engagement. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Show me what you built. I'm not as bad as people make out. I'm not as good as people make out. It's just how life works, man. And unfortunately, life, whether you're a good footballer or not, or whether you do football or anything in life, even if you're just a normal 9-to-5 guy, somebody's got something to say all the time. And life's hypocritical. You know, if you have no job and you're broke and you're homeless, people will call you a bum. And we don't job shame here, but if you work in McDonald's or sweep the streets, no one could ever talk shit about them kind of jobs. They don't do that. The world's in anarchy. But people will mock you for having a job, and then people will get onto you for cleaning toilets. My point is, everybody talks. Somebody's always got something to say. And if no one ain't paying your bills, if no one ain't saving you from your situation, it don't matter, does it? So I understand that, Eze, and it's got to be an easier life. I was trying to savor it because, as you know, you have that moment and then it's gone. Did everything flash before his eyes? Honestly, not really. I was just there looking at the crowd and watching everything happen. It was a cool moment. He's obviously speaking about when he was unveiled at the Emirates. For my family, seeing what it meant to them, I think that's the special thing for me. For me now, I'm just excited to play. There's been a lot of noise off and on the pitch. I just want to get down and play. And I hear that. And you know what? Yeah, it just shows why he shouldn't give up in life. Because we all know he's had to respond to a lot of adversity. You know, he got released by Arsenal, several failed trials. You know, I think worked in Tesco's and things of that ilk. Now you've been bought for 60 odd million, playing for your boyhood club, about to play in the Champions League, play for your country, won stuff at Crystal Palace and created magical moments. Should never give up in this life, man. Attacking players scoring in an attacking team, not a shock. It's a logical thing to happen. Coaching issues, I hear it. I blame Arteta. Look at Aubameyang, Pepe, Gabby, attackers get blunted under Arteta. I don't know if I blame Mikel Arteta for Martinelli per se. I think it's a case of Martinelli, you need to start using this. Big up Boxed Fresh Limited as well, man. If there's anyone you just adjust tactics for, it is a striker who has his history of scoring goals. In general, his tactics are disappointing. One of the best teams in Europe, and we play like we're 17th. Damn. It's down to him. It's down to him, man. It's down to him to pattern up, man. Why do you think he started Merino when he would have started Odegaard when fit? Why not replace like for like when we have options? Because he don't want to. Whatever Mikel Arteta's collective ethos is, that's what he wanted to do, innit? If Kai's fit, Kai probably starts instead of Gyökeres. But if I just assume Gyökeres is starting regardless, I'm pretty sure it would have been Havertz in there. Prior to Eze, what was we saying all summer? My hot take was, and it's not really a hot take, you're going to see Kai Havertz a lot more in midfield. Hipster managers ruining the game. I hear it, but it's not even that. I think it's these so-called analysts and stuff, man, that fail to understand, like, Football is an illogical game. It doesn't make sense. Lionel Messi, 4'10". I'm exaggerating. Being the best player, being able to hold people off, it does not make sense. Man are going invincible. Man are winning trebles. It does not make sense. We need that healthy randomness. Need to go against script. That's just me, though, man. Football's meant to be a synchronized dance. In the attacking third, we're out. We're trying to dance with guy like Carnival. We're out of rhythm. We're looking weird. Arteta moves like he's predicting Mona Lisa. I don't want us to change defensively. Obviously, it's a trade-off because, well, in an ideal world, you want to be perfect going forward and perfect in defense. But naturally, even if we're 5% more attacking, then we're going to lose 5% defensively. But it's a trade-off. As I said, we've got all the facets of defending. We can do the mid block, the low block. We can press. We can press aggressively high up the field. We do that pressing sometimes more. Didn't really happen against Liverpool, but more so in the bigger games. We don't press high. We wait for you to hit certain zones. We're obviously good in both ends from set pieces. I don't want us to lose that, but at the same time, we have all of the. We can take the sting out of the games. We can time waste. We've got dark arts. We don't attack as a form of defense. Because naturally, it's like being in a fight. We can dodge, we can block, we can restrain. At some point, one bit of defending, you're literally defending yourself in a fight is throwing some punches. Now, granted, you could throw some wayward punches. You leave your chin exposed and you're gone, but we never take that risk, man. Man said Amarin wedded to that 3-4-3 like it's his childhood sweetheart. Free us from hipster managers. Teta leaving Gyökeres on the bench when Kai is back. Well, boy, as long as make sure you win what you need to win, blood. Simple as that. Eze will feed Gyökeres, I've got no doubt. Got to put them in positions where that happens. Big up, Leadis. Would love to have Leadis instead of Marty. That one there is probably gone, man. Like, he's going to cost too much. Apparently, Cesc Fabregas and Sol Campbell could reach the Premier League Hall of Fame. They're two contenders. Are you taking the piss? Especially Sol Campbell. Listen, we leave Cesc to Chelsea, but Sol Campbell's disrespected. People forget he's one of the best centre-halves this country's produced. One of the best centre-halves to ever played in the Premier League. He is in Premier League Hall of Fame. The same goes for Cesc Fabregas, give or take what he's done at Arsenal and Chelsea. They shouldn't be voting. To be fair, who are the names, though? Sol Campbell should be there. Cesc Fabregas should be there. Michael Carrick should be there. Jermaine Defoe for the streets. I think Carrick, Fabregas, Sol Campbell, Fabregas, and Carrick, they should be there before you. Patrice Evra should be there. Les Ferdinand should be there. Robbie Fowler should be there. Eden Hazard should be there. As much as I don't like his punditry, Gary Neville should have been there a long time ago. Michael Owen the same. Teddy Sheringham, you're not getting any clout here because of how you're moving with Marcus Rashford, but definitely David Silva, Yaya Toure. Van der Sar's not there. Only now. Couple net Vidic as well. Couple disrespect. This hella disrespectful on some of this. It's hella disrespectful. But anyways, Arsenal have lost a young player. It's a shame because Dan Casey had a good season last year. I don't think he would have made the grade at the club, but there clearly might be a pathway at Palace. Crystal Palace and Arsenal have agreed on a compensation package for 2007 born midfielder Dan Casey. Started secondary school in 2007. It's mad, people were born then. Deal was agreed and sealed. Eligible to represent both Italy and England at international level. Casey will undergo a medical at Palace in the next 24 hours. Best of luck in whatever you're doing. Mbappe said, people, and his favourites to win the Premier League. Liverpool has to be mentioned first and foremost, but also have high hopes for Arsenal because the core of the team has known each other for a long time. And that's a crucial factor in football. Is that necessarily the case, though, now? Because Salah's been playing mind games. That's a tough one to pick. Maybe Arsenal, maybe it'd be their year. It would be certainly easier to say City or Liverpool. I mean, City have credit in the bank. I don't think nobody's catching Liverpool. I think if we fix up what we need to fix up, then we've got a chance, but we have to near enough be perfect. I think Liverpool are the front runners. Do I think Liverpool are invincible? No. Do I think they're going to drop points? Yes. But as shown last season, it's one thing Liverpool dropping points, which they haven't done so far. It's another one when they do drop points, you need to take yours. So, yeah, man, let's see what's going on. Arteta signed Gyökeres knowing what he is. It's on him. And I don't want to hear nobody saying, oh, his first choice was Zesco and all of these things. Who cares? Do you think every player that's rocked up at Arsenal was always the first choice of the manager or any manager of any club, first and foremost? Because Ben White wasn't, Ramsdale wasn't. You got a tune out of them, and it doesn't matter. You really want me to think, what strikers were we linked with? Cool, exclude Gyökeres. Isaac was never getting him, but we used to be linked with him. Ollie Watkins, Benjamin Sesko. You could slap all of these men up front right now. Cool. Isaac probably the best. Well, he is the best out of all of them, and Isaac out of all the names I said probably could make their own goals, similar to what you saw Gyökeres against Leeds. But it doesn't matter who's up front. You're just doing cardio and defensive duties. Create some clear-cut chances. In the 3 games we've seen so far, How many clear-cut tappings have been created? Two, if there has been that, why are we able to remember them? Because we can all remember, oh, Eze maybe could have bagged. Madueke had, I wouldn't even say Madueke had chances against Liverpool, but him and Gyökeres were doing the thing. You're scratching your head. But yeah, I heard Yamal lost his passport, just showing he's a young man. I think it's too early to blame either or yet. Gyökeres can't be dead. Can't be dead, but you're at the mercy of the system, bro. You're at the mercy of the system. And I don't want to hear that. If I ask for a Louis Vuitton jacket and you bring me a Gucci jacket, it's still lit. Like, it's still great. Like, it's still great. It can still work. It can still work. Don't act like Gyökeres is some Sunday league striker. You got a bad boy striker there. Make it work. Or show me tactics and systems where I can say, bro, maybe Gyökeres ain't that good. Maybe you need to get someone else. And even if Gyökeres ain't that good, well, threaten the bin and get another one. But what I would say is, bro, is it fair to say he bagged that Coventry? Is it fair to say he bagged that Sporting? Is it fair to say he bagged for his country? Is it fair to say some of us have sat here and said, you know what, signing the attacking players is one thing. We haven't seen anything to suggest tactically the handbrake is down. So with all that being said, how are you going to thrive? Because how better would Saka be if we freed up the attackers a bit more? Martinelli, I think Martinelli for me is the exception of all the attackers because I think there might be some tactical stuff, but I think it's more your decision making. But we've made it work, even to the point where I've said before, in hindsight now, I don't even think Martinelli's ever been as good as I thought he was. Maybe it was just a thing because we did try by Modric. Maybe you was always what you are now. We'll just put you in certain scenarios where you can thrive, man. So yeah, man. Here's what it is. Gyökeres can be the worst. Bro, he can be the worst. What he is a clinical striker, and there would have been many teams that would have had him. Like, because even that with Sesko, what would Sesko have done right now that Gyökeres ain't? And pick up the Gooner. He said it here. Make sure you're following his platform. Need to get him on the platform. We all knew we need to change tactics for Gyökeres because he doesn't fit how we've been playing. I haven't seen it yet, but it's still early days. And that's actually something that obviously it's 3 games in, but that's something that's disappointed me so far because in general, forget recruitment, anyone who's been signed and anything else we need to do. We said Mikel Arteta needs to, get some more out of our attackers, right? We said we need to change the way we're playing. We said we need to create chances and all of these kind of things. And we need to reinvent ourselves. That's why, maybe not so much Eze, but that's why I was happy with Eze in theory and Gyökeres in theory, because if I'm calling for this and these players, they can fit the system. I don't buy the system crap, but on paper, they're not what we'd become accustomed to. So naturally, if Arteta's got them, you have to do something differently, innit? One of DG's hot takes was Martinelli 40 GA this season will be there. SLD, the only thing worse than a liar in this world is a thief. I've had many of shit takes. Don't slander me, man. Crazy, man. Teta is the worst and will scapegoat Gyökeres as the bad guy. I don't think he'll scapegoat anyone, man. I doubt we'll see tactics / transitions until after City. But that's the thing. Like, I've said this before. For me personally, I think people cast your mind back to Man United. Forget the result or the performance because it kind of piggybanks of what we're talking about, right? But I'm more put your mind at that start of preseason. Literally, when we've come off that plane, where did we go first? Was it Hong Kong or Singapore? We went Asia, whichever one we went first. Put your mind back there. I think too many people think preseason is this magical place. You go off for a month or so, all the wrongs from last season, you're just there. We all know there's fitness aspects. Think about learning a skill or learning a system in life. Some of you at your work, if you've got an office job or whatever, some of you have to learn new systems for your computers and that you don't just get overnight. It takes forever. The same way we can praise how good we are defensively and all that never happened overnight. But I wanted to see building blocks. Because one thing I've been passionate about is one thing Arteta sold me on very early was defending and playing out from the back. Because I could see what he was doing. When we had Socrates and Mustafi and this one and that one, I could see what he was doing. It's just, unfortunately, these man was shit. Attacking sense, I never saw anything to say, oh, okay, maybe Martinelli's fucking up, but Eze in that scenario, this one in that scenario, things are different. So me, I just wanted to see building blocks. And I've said it before, like, people are saying, oh, Liverpool look beatable in this. They're laughing. You think Arne Slot's happy in these last 3 games? Obviously, 9 from 9, he's happy with that. They want to retain the title, but they're not in full form. My point being, it doesn't matter if it's them, us, anyone in this league. Nobody is firing and looking how I'm sure their manager or their team wants. But I needed to see building blocks. And I think of the preseason fixtures, even the ones in Singapore and what we played like 2 at the Emirates, what we had, ironically, we got to play Bilbao again, but Bilbao, Villarreal. Was it Bilbao, Villarreal? And then obviously the 3 games so far. Bilbao is the only one I was like, yeah, you know what, Arteta, you're showing me 1-2 things. Rice is back in the 6 role, but it's a bit of a different 6. Supermendi's doing what he's doing. We saw that. That's the only one. I ain't really seen much. And I would say for the Liverpool game, it's more game management for me. It's more game management. Because I do think a bit of our frustration is with beyond the obvious with Arsenal, Liverpool was probably never going to buck into a more evenly matched Liverpool team. We did want to see a bit different. We did want to see us put out a statement. But I would say for me, it's game management, because kind of what I said in like probably the first 40 minutes, changing things in the game. If I isolate the fact that I know it's obviously a new season, we're playing Liverpool and stuff, I think I felt that way a bit too much under Mikel Arteta. So I need him to change that. But you're right. Like I said, for me, I'm not expecting everything to change. But I have said this and I'm going to maintain this. Once we get to 10, 11, 12, 13 games in, now is where I start to get a bit more harsher, because that is where I feel cool. Now you're seeing what's going on. Because now the season started now. Cool. First game of the year, we weren't amazing against United. Take the 3 points, keep it moving. Critical of chance creation against Leeds, but granted, we scored 5 goals. Dowman got a little run out. Eze, welcome home party, clean sheet, 5 goals, 6 points on the board, keep it moving. It's not the best, but it's not the worst to lose to Liverpool. But all right, we'll go again. Now is where it gets fast. You got Champions League now. League Cup is to come, where the games are coming thick and fast. Couple injuries already. Need to bounce back immediately at home against Nottingham Forest. That's before we even talk about City. And it don't matter where City are at, they're going to have that bad blood. Same way we had the bad blood after how, not so much, well, it's got to be a kick in the teeth how we drew at the Etihad last year, conceding in the dire numbers of the game. But the whole Haaland, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Haaland, Arteta, we had that. And then Magalhaes saying, we'll wait for you at our ground. There's a bit of the fire there. You think City aren't going to want that? He humiliated them at our place last year. The young G's did. Miles Lewis-Skelly and Wanye. That's before we forget about the older heads. So, yeah, man. DG, Ikatike and Verts did F4 along with Mo, but analysts are after Gyökeres. To be fair with you, but that's what's going to happen, bro. Like, the truth is, both teams stunk up the place. Both teams nullified each other. If Arsenal versus Liverpool in the game that just went, if that was a movie and going into the game, like the previews, the trailer, the movie was dead. Unfortunately, history is only written by the winners. Winners win and losers explain. It was lost in the second half. Football's decided at both ends. And we lost it. We were losing the midfield battle. We've given away a free kick. 9 times out of 10, it's either in rows and it goes wide. There's nothing. But when you're playing against the top teams in Europe, like Liverpool, there is that scope for the balls in the back of the net. So my thing is game management. And I know people would say, oh, I'd like to see Liverpool with no Van Dijk and no Saka and all of that. And I hear that, all of that's true. But we know I'm not being funny. In the last 2-3 years, some of our more standout games have been achieved without our strongest team. The 2 against Real Madrid weren't the strongest 11 on paper. Therefore, a couple of times against City. Even last year at the Emirates, when we drew with, ironically, conceded a late goal of such, I think Salah scored. That weren't our strongest team. So how far does it go? And we need to be prepared. And that's even, I wouldn't say a positive, but even that, like, I think some fans are a bit too comfortable, personally, with Saliba and more so Saka not being there. But when you have depth, it's cool. We were still kind of cool. We more wanted a statement, man. Eberechi would be a good player for it. You know what? My strikers, my bias is like forget Isaac, he's at Liverpool, forget Hugo, but them kind of strikers is the ones I like because they can score goals, they can make their own. Then I like the Haaland types. Like if I was Mikel Arteta or even Pep Guardiola, obviously in the modern day, Haaland isn't a traditional striker, innit? Like Haaland, he's obviously achieved a lot, but he's someone that should have been there in the 90s, early 2000s. But Haaland is a striker because of how he is. If I was a manager, he's someone that will make me tear up my own script because I think the pros are too good, if that makes sense. Defoe was overhyped, never played in top sides. Less said that. I don't want to praise the team he played for. Defoe's part of the culture, mate. Defoe's part of the culture. I don't know for Prem legend. I personally wouldn't. Streets legend. I wouldn't say Jermaine Defoe's a Prem legend for me personally, but I like him, man. And obviously, clearly, I weren't a good striker. Well, I could go in my attic. I've got my top goal scorer boots, awards and whatnot. But clearly, I weren't a good striker because I've gone from striker to right back in it. But when I wanted to be a striker like secondary school and that, well, Defoe's hella tiny. I'm seeing man play up front. I'm thinking, yo, I could do this. Like, I wouldn't say legend. I wouldn't say legend, but he deserved it. Like, I thought, streets legend. He's a legend for me, but I wouldn't say Prem legend. Because I think that, yeah. Carrick, Hazard, Neville, Silva, Toure, Van der Sar, Vidic, is stat. All of them should be in that already, bro. I don't like Gary Neville as I don't know you as a person. I don't like it. I definitely don't like you as a pundit because I think you're like the Piers Morgan of football, innit? I don't even think you believe half the things. I think you're a whore for the algorithm. I'll be so honest. I do think that. But as a defender, I do think Gary Neville's disrespected. Like, bro, he was a good defender and he was part of the Man United team that done whatever. Michael Carrick, I don't want to be that guy. I do think we always say this, but if you weren't English and you were Spanish, you'd be held in higher regards. Quality player. Him and Xabi Alonso are two Arsenal players that never wore the shirt. Eden Hazard, don't need to tell you about what Eden Hazard's brought to the table. The same goes for David Silva, Yaya Toure, Van der Sar, and of course, Nemanja Vidic. Neville is a boss pundit. Fuck him, man. Not sure why Mbappe needs to care. He don't play in England. Well, that'll be boring, isn't it? He's, if we're football fans, he's a professional footballer. He's allowed an opinion. And to be fair, he's asked the question. It'd be pretty boring, isn't it, if that was the way of going about things. But I can't lie, Mbappe. Anyone can win stuff at Madrid, man. And we beat you lot last year. You don't want to come and put on. Don't worry, Gyökeres, you'll get the 9 shirt next season. 14. Mbappe, you can't take Martinelli's spot left wing. Let a man dream, man. Big up my guy, Jerome. I'll keep it a buck. Eze on the left will unlock Gyökeres. Martinelli's headless chicken runs are killing him. I'm past this unlocking stuff. I know what you lot mean. And I'll just band it on the good players now to play with good players. And naturally, it will give everybody a boost and they'll move mad. Like, I think Salah is going to get the best out of Isak, really. If I'm honest with you, I'd say if Isak, you know what? You could see a clean sweep for Liverpool between 3 players. Isak top goal scorer, give or take with Salah, or either Salah breaks the assist record, Isak gets the golden boot. And if Salah don't break the assist record, when he's fit, Jeremy Frimpong, you should be getting bare assists. Trent should be vexed. Not that he's at Madrid, but brother, Isak, you're getting 1 million assists. But nah, I'm past that, man. I hear you though. I'm at the point, just run the Isak stuff. Run that left wing. That can't be worse than what we're seeing. Just run that. I'd rather the devil we don't know. Why the talk of Gyökeres got him to bag specifically against the lower ops? I think we just got him to score goals. He's on track to do that. He bagged even when Saka came off. Liverpool players wanted it more. That's the fine margins. That's the issue, though, man. We need to start being on the right side of the fine margins because that was said, obviously, against Liverpool. That was said against Paris Saint-Germain. I feel like that was said at least the first 2 years we fought for the title. And they're right. They're not wrong, but we're never on the right side of them. We get on the right side. I want to swap places with PSG. I'd rather Luis Enrique say they've been the best team in the Champions League. Luis Enrique, you're not wrong. We're in the final. I'd rather, Arne Slot, rightly so. When he said if we played Arsenal 10 times, there'd probably have been 8 draws. We win 1, they win 1. That's cool. But I want to be on the right side. Obviously, it's only been 3 games into the season. Man United was the time was on the right side. Obviously, we defended better than them. Like you have to say with Liverpool, they defended better than us. They attacked better than us. But I would rather get the points. And that's the thing. Like, we don't lose that many games. But it's this, like, there's always 3-4 games that sum up our season. It's not that I want to be harsh. We've got no choice. If we always sit here and say every game is a cup final, there's no margin for error, all these things, then we have to keep with balance those standards. The problem is, Arsenal fans are one of you, and it comes from a place of love. We win with the best thing since sliced bread, and these players are. You go lose the next week, they're crap. And a part of that, the nature of the business. But yeah, man, Martinelli's been overhyped by fans. Who overhypes him now? Martinelli just needs to be a bench player, play under attacking coach. Martinelli had a purple patch, nothing more. That 15-goal season was a fluke. He earned that, but it was a purple patch of a season. But even that, because I'm looking at Martinelli, he was clearly a limited player. How did we get something out of him? This is what I mean by Arteta's at war with himself. I don't want to just be bare, free-flowing, attacking, and naive. If I had my way, and I know it's not as easy to say this, but for me personally, the year you lot are talking about with Martinelli, where not just him, he bagged, Saka bagged, Odegaard bagged. I want that attacking football. And then, obviously, the other seasons we've defended well, but purely the attack of that year, and you see the last year, because that was where I think there was just something in the air with how we defended. Just mesh them 2 things together, man. I know it's not as easy as that, but at the end of the day, I'm not UEFA A licensed coach. I'm not on 15 million a year. I do think people are a bit disingenuous with, oh, that has been here for 6 years and he spent $1 billion. Those things are true, but let's be real. We've only been fighting for the title for 3 years, 4 now, involving this. An element of that money spent was catch-up money. But I'm saying that to say this. Cool, you can say 6, 7 years, do what you want to do. For me, it's these now rebuild. I allow you. Cool, you rebuild, got us back into the top 4. That project is over. These 4 years, including the one that we're on now, that's where my issue is now. Every penny you've spent this year is now where it's got, everything has to make sense. Because I'm not just happy to flirt with it. We're closer to getting over the line than we are going down the toilet. So I have to see, man. Smash the likes if you haven't, man. He's a £1 billion asset. Why is he handling his own passport? Obviously, I don't know why Young Miles holding his own passport, but it's not nice because someone's probably, I don't know how it works in Spain, but obviously, England, your address is on your passport. Someone's got your address, but it just shows he's a kid. I can't lie. I thought footballers, I guess you can hold your own, but I thought like when these men go on traveling stuff, I thought there was like some executive or someone that handles that. Like whoever's booking the planes that these men get onto and all these things. Yamal's just got to hold that, man. Really, boy. If it wasn't Yamal, I don't know how you're getting out of Turkey, mate. Diaz's best season in the Prem doesn't even match Martinelli's. Arteta just needs to take him out the limelight for now. Ethan bagged. Get in, Ethan. Get in. I hope it was a screamer. If you listen to some fans, you might as well bury the club. Too much negativity. Everyone's allowed their opinion, innit? Like me, there's definitely negatives. There's definitely negativities. I'll never shy away from discussing negativities or positivities. But at the same time, yeah, like the world goes on, innit? Like there are times we need to have a good moan. Browning, shout me. There are times we need to be happy, but just balance. I'm always like in my personal life, if everything's going well, I don't think I'm as good as the situation. When everything's going wrong, I don't think I'm bad. Just gotta have that balance. When everything's going well, how can we improve? When everything's going negative, it's not to say be positive for the sake of it. What can we find? And I do think there's some that just want to be positive for the sake of it. I think they're lazy. Anyone that in theory just wants to say, oh, it's only 3 games. We lost to a screamer of a strike. I hear all of that. And it's not wrong, but it's a lazy viewing. And you don't love the club then because you're not calling it for what you see. Is what it is. I think Mustafi suffered from Wenger losing his mind tactically in his latter years. He was quality for Germany. Nah, he was shit, bro. DJ, I'm mailing you this chair to you at 100K. Look at this guy. Mustafi was shit, man. He was shit, man. Nah, I don't even think that's on anyone. No. Because no matter what you say, I will never forgive Mustafi. We're in the League Cup final. One of the most potent strikers in the world at the time. And, you know, Premier League legend in Sergio Aguero. Bearing in mind, this is at Wembley. Fans have paid all sorts of money. Fans are all over the world tuning in. You're putting up your hand. Sergio Aguero's racing down the goal. You're putting up your hand for offside. Sergio's running through in the cup final. And big up Mustafi because you earned that right. But you need to give that World Cup medal to Marco Reus. Marco Reus doesn't get that injury. You don't get selected. But big up you, though. Life's not fair, bro. Because if Neymar don't get a World Cup and you do, that's not fair. Fans like to be right. It's why these edgy takes come in. Some fans would have off themselves during Bergkamp's opening season on Rio, right? And that's the thing. There's a couple of things in football that jar me. One is I don't know. I don't know why. And it's mainly football Discord. Why can't you just say, I don't know? Or I was wrong? Because these managers, whatever you think about any manager, whether it's Mikel Arteta, Ten Hag, whatever you think, bro, these men are professional managers, bro. If they can get things wrong, what fucking right do you or me as an armchair expert? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then let's be honest, there are content creators who just want to get onto the club because they're seen as real by the rivals and whatnot. Defoe was good, but not top levels like Darren Bent. Oh, Jermaine Defoe, Darren Bent. I'm going with Defoe, man. Our most legendary striker took several games to get on the score sheet in his first season. I must admit, I'm backing Gyökeres all the way because of everything you did to sign for this club. And obviously, Gyökeres, you know, if you're not playing well, you need to look in yourself. But I think I saw what was going to happen. Like, yeah, cool, we signed the guy. It's exciting, but it's a tactical thing. I think if Gyökeres ain't a success in some way, shape, or form at this football club, it's on Mikel Arteta, and I extend that to all the attackers. Because in the same flip side, I'm confident about any defenders we have, any defenders that we sign, because of how we defend and our defensive ethos. Kind of what I was saying in the attacking sense, that you slap a couple of our attackers at other clubs, they might not be amazing, but they might look a bit better. I promise you, the other 19 teams in this Premier League, you put every Arsenal player striker up for sale for the right price, taking all of them. That's where I think the issues are defensively. And even going keeping that example, think of the worst defenders in the league for you lot. I think if they played for Arsenal, they played for a couple of games, obviously they would still be shit. They would make mistakes, but they'd look a bit better. Why? Because we're a great defensive team. It's just like the season, like obviously going to Jurgen Klopp. Remember, Liverpool used to just minute 0 to minute 90, we're just flying forward. Don't really matter. He clocks, raw, that can't really get to where I need to get to. So why don't I keep that, but scale it back a bit? And if you remember the season before they signed Van Dijk, or if it's either the season before they signed Van Dijk, or I feel like they signed Van Dijk midway through the season. It might have been January. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. But if you remember, I'm sure it was a season before. They started to put a bit more emphasis on being street smart, on defending well, on being more structured defensively. So then when you're buying Van Dijk, obviously he's going to upgrade the system. He's a great centre half and that, but you've got a defensive ethos. I think in football, people just think you buy great defenders and it happens. It can't. Of course, they'll show their quality, but you get where I'm going, man. Neville would have had a statue if his name was Coutinho. Neville's a failed manager, and I don't know why he's accepted as a pundit. He is a failed manager, but I understand why he's a pundit. I mean, he's been there, done it. He's played for the country. He's won several times at Man United. He's got the CV. What I think is disingenuous is like these lot, and Gary Neville's the best example, bro. That man just want to be edgy for no reason. He's the Piers Morgan of football. I'll counter that, DG. A striker needs to be fed. If Martinelli doesn't pass because his head is down, what can Gyökeres do? It's true. No, I hear that. I'm just saying for Martinelli, I'm past the stage of unlocking. And I just think I don't want to get in this trap of players unlocking other players. I agree, because good players can always play with good players. Obviously, if in a flipped universe, if Martinelli's decision-making was amazing. Like, do you know what? You know what the saddest thing is? I wish I could take the intelligence of Mikel Merino and slap it into Martinelli. If he could just use this, and I'm past that with Martinelli. Love the guy, love him to bits, but you're too old for this now. Yeah, Keane was a crap manager, but as a player, bro, I just think the problem is, I genuinely think a lot of these guys are agenda driven. A lot of these guys don't really do research. And I think that's why the world of football, you, me, everybody, that's why we'd rather talk amongst ourselves, or we'd rather watch other platforms, because it comes like these journalists, not even, journalists as well, but these ex-pundits. We've all watched Sky Sports. We've watched all these things. You can tell when someone ain't done their research and they're just saying the same generic statements. Like they're not doing their homework. That's why I actually liked Emma Hayes. I don't know if she's gone back into management, but and obviously, unfortunately, in this day and age, you know, being a woman, football, people are going to do too much. But I'm all for people doing their homework. Like, she would always come with little stats and she was able to convey her ideas. You can just tell when these pundits, they've just rocked in for work an hour before they go live. They've been given a stats sheet and they're just winging it. I'm not saying you have to be the Omega knowing everything, but just give us the vibe that you're actually studying. Especially when it don't matter. Like, I see Man United fans here, Liverpool fans, definitely a lot of Arsenal fans, especially when you're listening to these people and you can tell they're chatting shit because we're watching the football club. I would hate for Eze to play like Doku on the wing. He can't play like Doku. His decision making is quality. Too early in the season to have any head loss. Don't expect us to look good until 8 to 10 games. Whatever Martinelli did in that so-called freak season has been coached out of him. I hear that. Arteta goofed the selection, has little to do with how we look on the eye. Need an attacking trio of Eze, Gyökeres, Madueke, Wanyeri for the Forest game. I want to see something. But just that we saw stuff in Martinelli that weren't there, boy. What's that question about? What problem is man panicking with Gyökeres 3 in 4, and it's up to them. It's up to them both to help create more. 3 and 4? What do you mean? Not quite sure on that. I can't lie. One thing I want to say, Cash, just to go back to that, yeah. Just for one game, I want to see Gyökeres through the middle, Saka off the right, Eze in the 10. Eze in the 10. No. Start with midfield. Take your pick between Rice and Zubamendi. One of them, the 6. I guess my bias would be to Zuba, even though I don't feel comfortable with Rice not being there. My bias would be to Zubamendi and what I'm about to say. So let's say Zubamendi, Odegaard, and well, it'd probably be Eze on the left, Odegaard on the right. So that's the midfield 3, right? 2 rotating 8s, which you kind of More so in Odegaard, you kind of see that already to a degree, but I want to see that. So Zubimendi, Odegaard, Eze, Saka, Gyökeres, and I said one game. Don't shoot me. I said for one game, Gabriel Jesus off that left. I just want to see something. Since we're all saying what we want to see, I'm holding my own passport. I don't trust no one. I hear it. No, you still have to have your passport when you go through border patrol. They have to check you and do the passport scan. So I guess Yao Mao is just showing that he's a kid. I mean, it's not the time to talk about transfers, yeah, but everywhere you go, Martinelli's going to be linked with a club in it, like him, Trossard. By the way, would you not sell Trossard? Just because I know reports have quashed rumors, but we cut the window shut. January's a long time to go. 20 odd million for him. Would you not do it? Because he's still linked with a move to Turkey. But yeah, Arsenal's quiet willingness to consider offers for Martinelli showed that the attacker faces an uncertain future at the Emirates. Sources close to the agent's industry have informed Court of Side. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to wonder, like, Martinelli's fallen from grace. Until you get back to that or rise in some sort of stature, you are going to be a player that might not necessarily be forced out the door. We do love you. You're a good lad. You wear your heart on your sleeve. You clearly, tactically, you understand what's demanded of you, but you're going to always be you're not one of them unsellables. If there is an unsellable player, because everyone's got a price, but if there was unsellables, excluding the fact that we all expect him to go to Real Madrid one day, Saliba would be that, Saka would be that. You get the point, innit? For me, Miles Lewis Kelly would be that. Rice would be that. Like, I think we owe West Ham some money, man. Like, West Ham, who says no? West Ham will give you some money and Martinelli on loan in January. You give us Bowen. A man can dream. But yeah, he could be sold. Apparently, we wanted 60 odd million. He was available for 40. The so-called Martinelli file could easily reopen in January with AC Milan named as an interested party. Oh, so that could add fuel to the fire for Rafael. No, everyone knows we ain't doing none of that in January. Stranger things have happened. Weirder things have happened. And I'd love for another attacker. Even that, like, I feel like I'm harsh on, and let me know, people. Maybe I'm harsh on the club because I like the recruitment. I think the only downers I can say about our summer recruitment are two things. Clearly, we didn't get that much money coming into the club. We haven't really changed how we're looked at as a selling club, right? That needs to change in the years to come. So that's one. And I think we missed a trick not buying a left winger. I know probably that was, reliant on either Trossard and Martinelli leaving, if not both. But you do have Trossard, you do have Martinelli. He ain't fit. And he's not been named in the Champions League squad, but you do have Gabriel Jesus. You have got Madueke in the mix and Eze in the mix who can play there. But I think we missed the trick, man. I don't know how it would have all panned out, but I think we missed the trick personally. I don't know who, because the Rodrigo thing never got off the ground. I never really bought into the Liao rumors. We're always linked with Anthony Gordon. That weren't happening anyways, much less with the Isaac stuff. The Malik Fufana case didn't go anywhere. I don't know, people, man. I don't know. Odegaard doesn't care about Tony Adams' Arsenal captaincy criticism. Oof. I mean, listen, you have to care what Tony Adams says, but I mean, you can't care. Like, you can't care. Like, putting myself in Odegaard's shoes. I'm the captain. The manager believes in me. The team believes in me. Honest to God, if everybody's just cooking and playing well, nobody don't care. Like, nobody don't care. Like, I can't care. He's allowed his opinion. I respect his opinion. Odegaard wouldn't be my captain. But, like, you can't care. Like, what are you meant to do? Cry? And I think even Arsenal fans on social media, very disrespectful to Thierry Henry and Tony Adams. If you can get at those two, and Vieira once upon a time, if you can get at those two or three, and even Wenger, no one else, no one connected to this club stands a chance. Big up Fam Zone TV, big up D and Dean. Make sure you're subscribing to them lot over there. Support the trenches, people. But yeah, Odegaard has said he don't care. I don't care that much, to be honest. Everyone can have their opinion and say what they want, and I'm all right with that. I don't care what I can't care about what everyone says, and that's true. If you live for their applause, you're gonna die by their boots. It would hurt. It would kind of hurt me if I was Odegaard, because Tony Adams. If I'm Odegaard, I assume I've met you 1-2 times. You're Mr. Arsenal. I am going to take your criticism on board a bit more than everybody else. But reality is, if I strip the fact that it's Tony Adams, is he the first or last person that's questioned Odegaard's captaincy? Bearing in mind whether you rate Odegaard or not, this is a man who's probably been in the limelight. And ironically, several young players could benefit. Been in the limelight from 14, 15, 16, respectfully to Norway. They've got a bunch of other kids on the block now. Haaland, Nusa, this one, that one. Even the youth that ended up going City, but he was the golden boy. And obviously being a star at 14, 15 in Norway is very different from if Odegaard was Brazilian. We're used to that. So you've dealt with that. You've gone to Madrid. It didn't work out. Beer talking points at Arsenal. You're used to this. It's water for ducks back. And at the end of the day, yeah, if your teammates believe in you, if the gaffer believes in you, it's all you can ask for. Fans are always going to fluctuate. We're going to love you when you do well. We're going to hate you when you do bad. That's just how it is. He's not the first or the last. Magalhaes, everybody loves him now. There was a point where people said, oh my God, Calafiori is going to take Magalhaes' spot. And I won't forgive a lot of you. I've been wrong about many things, and I know I should forgive you lot. Name and shame. Some of you lot said Pablo Mari was better than Gabriel Magalhaes. So yeah, and like somebody said earlier, obviously, Thierry Henry and Bergkamp, like, no one is going to end up in that kind of Arsenal folklore, but it's not how your career starts, it's how it ends. So yeah, man, I hear him. There's a lot of negative and positive things to say, but I can't let it affect me. That's what I thought throughout my career. It's true, man. It's true. It's true, man. What's this? Adams, every now and again as a manager, you have to. Okay, now I hear that. We're not going to go over Adams' comments again. I feel ready. What's Odegaard said here, which is what I care about, if I'm honest with you. In terms of his injury, it hurts a lot, but now I've got it under control and I feel ready. It was never an issue between Norway and Arsenal. I talk a lot with the Norway manager. The club obviously wanted me for Liverpool, and my only job was to get ready. Can we stay fit? Noni Madueke's coach reveals how the winger is like Cristiano Ronaldo and why Arsenal fans will come to love him. Madueke, I'm cheering you on all the way, you know, because I wouldn't have bought you. I don't think we should have bought you. I think I couldn't tell you who, but I think that 50 million could have went to better stuff. But at the end of the day, we bought you. At the end of the day, like anyone that comes to sign for my football club, I'm going to support you. It don't mean I'm going to blindlessly back you, but I don't think it's fair, man. I think you can have your opinion on a man and all those kind of things, but at least let him kick the ball for our club. And, you know, you got big bollocks there, not Madueke, because, you know, going from Chelsea to Arsenal, there's a tax that has to be applied. And you're already in a deficit in Arsenal fans. It's not like we signed Cole Palmer. We've got someone that it's what you could be rather than what we're seeing. We're going to have question marks. But this is a 23-year-old coming to sign for my club. And to be fair with you, I like the fact that we've got Eze and a couple of others. You in that little role, I'm all for it. But to be fair, we've heard his private coach speak about him before. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I'm not even going to read this. I think it means Cristiano Ronaldo's mentality. That's cool. Try and be better. Try and be better than you was yesterday. Now, I did ask you a lot about Trossard. Fabrizio Romano said Arsenal are not planning for Trossard exit despite links with Besiktas move in recent days. Trossard already agreed new deal at the club in August and moved to Turkish Superliga has no chance of happening now. What else have we got? We all know Saliba is out, expected to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. And life is coming at us Arsenal fans quick in it, like Saka, Havertz, Saliba, Norgard as well, which obviously respectfully to Norgard, like you're not one of them kind of names, but like what's going on? Not to mention Benjamin White. We just have to pray and hope whoever's representing whatever country, the England boys, the Brazil boys, the lads going and playing for Spain, Sweden in Gyökeres' case, Odegaard with Norway, Calafiori definitely with Italy. You lot, make sure you return to London this week with no issues. Timber as well. I'm sure Timber scored for Holland. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, man, it is what it is. What else have we got here? The most exciting thing is, for me, Zubamendi's been sourcing. And what's his name? Mikel Merino. What else have we got? Gone over that. I don't want to care about referees. So yeah, man. It's a techie one. But yeah, let me get back to what you lot say. Smash the likes if you haven't. Big up Ryan, man. Timber scored. Well, the other Timber. Fair enough. I didn't watch it, man. Big up Midona. Hey, you're always trolling me on Twitter, but it's friendly trolling. I appreciate you, man. I'm no Mystic Meg, but I called out your gaffer's mentality 3 years ago. He doesn't have what it takes. He's fighting himself every so often in your life. You have to fight with yourself, and it's him. It's now you, Mikel Arteta. Personally, the team wouldn't say anything against this narcissistic manager if they don't like Martin as captain. I hear that, but as a man, and I guess the manager dictates, but he did come out and say they voted. And to be fair, if you're Mikel Arteta, whether you rate Odegaard or not, it is every man's for themselves. If nobody really rocks with Odegaard like that, you have to sit there and say, oh, I wanted to give him the captaincy, but throw it somewhere else. And if I'm brutally honest with you, as I've said, I'm not going to keep going over this Martin Odegaard stuff because I'm sure we're all tired with it. Would Martin Odegaard have been my captain? No, it's a Magalhaes thing. It's a Rice thing. End of the day, he's the captain. I don't know what magical powers, and it could help, But I don't know what magical powers a Declan Rice or Gabriel Magalhaes are meant to gain by wearing the captaincy that they don't have or are not displaying at Arsenal anyways. And I don't know what pressure is meant to be lifted off Martin Odegaard, because people are going to question your form, which has been on off a cliff for the last year or so. You're playing for Arsenal anyways, where there's a degree of pressure. Everybody's onto you, and whether it's Wanyeri coming into the mix or play Eze there, like it's all an illusion. It sounds cool, and I'm not saying it's not wrong. He wouldn't have been my captain, but like when you just sit there and actually think about it, it ain't really making sense. It ain't really making. It's not that it's not making sense. Like, it don't make sense, and it's not happening today. It's not happening today or tomorrow. It is what it is. And I think Odegaard is probably like the modern day kind of captain. He probably goes to all the Arsenal events with all the legends. He's probably a good character around the dressing room, perfect kind of teacher's pet type of thing. It make pretty boy and that. It makes sense, but it wouldn't be my captain. But we're here now, innit? If everybody leads in their own way, if you're a shout. If you lead by example, because I think Saka's a leader. I think Saliba's a leader, but I don't see Saliba shouting all the time. I think Timber's a leader. I think White's a leader. Them man there got leaders. Rice, the same. Obviously, Rice, I said that. Everyone just lead. And to be fair, we don't always know. Because we've had Jorginho that might have been on the bench, people that make the difference. Like, you don't see it on a match day. But anyone that understands football, these are living with each other and breathing with each other in. These are the kind of things everyone just do what's comfortable to them. I don't agree with it, Gaffer, but I'm not on the training front. I think in many ways, Odegaard kind of sums up the trajectory we've been on with Mikel Arteta. But yeah, man, is what it is. Big up yourself, Ali, man. Which saying Gaffer lets players who are injured start, except for the FA Cup with it. United's team. What else has he won? I hear that, but then if you're gonna, not to discredit him, and he needs to win stuff, but then if you're gonna say that about Mikel Arteta, then you have to say last season was Klopp's team. Not that I think that deserves any discredit, because Slot still had to go out there and do it, and Mikel Arteta the same. You're right. He needs to grab more football. He needs to grab more trophies in this game of football. What I would say as well is Mikel Arteta the first or the last manager to play injured players? No. Do I think Mikel Arteta runs players into the ground? Do I think we need to rest players a bit more? I'm not as extreme on that as a lot of fans, because fans want it all. You want stability, you want fluidity and all these things. You want the same 11 or the strongest team, but then you want to rest everyone. It don't work like that. So I do think people are doing too much, but there is scope for that. But also the players, bro. Obviously, I agree. Like, in hindsight, the Liverpool game, maybe Arteta should have been like, well, you know what? We're not risking you, Saliba. Forget that. Because worst comes to worst, we lose a battle against Liverpool, but we win a war in that you're available. That never happened. He played on it. But I do think there is an element of Mikel Arteta needs to save the players. I also think the players need to save themselves, and my heart bleeds for the players, because I've already said, if I've got any sympathy for anyone that isn't the fans connected to this club, it's the players. They've run into the ground. I think they needed help in January. I think whether I've rated these players or not, you lot have stood up. Last season, you lot have my respect, because I never saw nobody hide. You might have lost, you might have made mistakes, but nobody hid. But there's a double-edged sword of that, in that we've all played football. You know, you might go, so if I pretend I'm Saliba, the manager and the physio might be asking me, how am I feeling? I might know in my brain and my heart, I'm 99.9%, not 100%, 99.9% fit, but I want to play. And then obviously see the setbacks. Benjamin White's known to lie about injuries. Of course, it's down to the physios and everything, but you're still relying on the players to save themselves, Saka, etc. But you're right, though, man. And if you're not going to save the players this year, then when are you? Because you have the squad, quote unquote, to cope with it. I'm not saying I ever want to risk players' health, but I understand it if there's a semi-final. Like if the game we played against Liverpool is a semi-finals of the Champions League or a final or a must-win in the Premier League, quote unquote. I understand, you know what, fuck it, let's risk it. There is scope for that, but yeah, man. You may not care, but sometimes it's good to listen and learn. Kojo, what are you referring to there? How Arteta is one of the highest paid managers is beyond me, but no, he shouldn't care. The most important thing he should care about is his manager words. Oh, you're talking about that? He can't care. Respectfully, who is Tony Adams to Martin Odegaard? And nobody do bullshit. Nobody don't rate Tony Adams as much as me. Love the guy to bits. But like calling it for what you see it. Tony Adams, the player, madness. You're not connected with Arsenal as much as you should care. Bro, think about it. If you're Martin Odegaard, it's gonna hurt you. But what are you gonna do now? Like, think about it. If you're Martin Odegaard, what are you gonna do? You're gonna cry? Oh my god, Tony Adams don't rate me. If you're gonna cry, he needs to fuck off. Go prove him wrong. Go prove him wrong. Put your fucking bollocks on the table, mate, yeah? And fucking show everybody at that's connected to this football club that doubts us that we can do this thing. It's as simple as that. As I always say, we're going to war. Liverpool are near enough perfect, and they're not even final form. We all know how difficult the Champions League is. I think there's plenty of question marks about Arteta and the players, but we're going to war. If you're not down for this, leave. If you're not ready to fight tooth and nail, and you're not on this trying to get 90 plus points and bring in silverware, everybody who's not on that, leave. Simple as that, in the most respectful way. Martin Odegaard can't care. You cannot care about what Tony Adams thinks. Is he paying your bills? Is he selecting the team? Is he riding the highs and lows with us? Of course. Let's cut the passionate bullshit now. We all know how good Tony Adams is, Mr. Arsenal, all of that. That is irrelevant to 2025 and right now. I would love for Tony Adams to be involved in the club and all those kind of things, but he's not. You cannot care. You can't care. You can't care. The same way Martinelli can't care about what Thierry Henry said. You can definitely take it on board, both of them. You can take it on board, but he can't care. What should hurt you more is what the manager says. He's the one that's picking the thing. So yeah, man, I'm tired of the captain thing now, man. He didn't, and he never dissed him. He never dissed him. But what can he say? You can't care. Like, what are you gonna do? Sit there? Oh my God, Tony Adams already has a game. Because there is a reality. Why are you the captain for Norway and Arsenal? I don't know why you're the captain of your country. I don't have you down as captain material. But I'm sitting here chatting shit on YouTube. You got a national team manager. You got a Premier League manager. They've made you captain. They know you more than I know you. I don't know you. I don't even know what your favorite color is. I don't even know what type of girls you like. I don't even know your favorite alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic beverage. Smash the like, but I don't know you. They do. They've given it to you. Now I can criticize. Well, so what? Why is Martin Odegaard the captain? So what? Does he's like, is he one of the most vocal ones? I don't know. Who said it? Someone had an interview and they said Odegaard picks the music in the change room. Yeah, Madueke, Icy Freeze. Can we regulate that? We need to come out with some scary stuff, man. Oi, Aaron, leave Em alone, man. You lot, be nice. Hey. Chat, please. Be nice. I can't believe the Odegaard captaincy is still a debate. The players have overwhelmingly backed him, Steve. That's where I'm at. Right. And it's not the least of my problems, but this is the last thing I'll say. It's the least of my effing problems. Does Martin Odegaard wearing the captaincy affect why we are not creating chances, why we didn't win at Liverpool, how we get over the line? There's many another thing to be discussing, bro. And I genuinely think it's not that there is a small percentage of people that care, but people don't care. If Odegaard's goals, assists, nobody gives a monkeys, bro. Nobody cares. No one cares. Palmer ain't scored in the Prem for stages. Imagine that was Saka or Martinelli. Who's Palmer? Don't know. You talking about vibes? I saw him on Friday. It'd be nice to have Cole Palmer, though. That's right, DG. Proved them wrong. That's what I mean about listening and learning. It's just, bro, everyone's got an opinion. And football, being a footballer, it's jarring, bro. I could be a striker. I get 20 league goals like a Haaland. Oh, but you don't get assists. I could be one of them strikers. Granted, I don't score bare goals and all of that, but I could be great for the team. Oh, you don't score enough. If I'm a goalie and I keep clean sheets and I'm a good keeper, I'll win you games and find he's not good with his feet. I win one Premier League title. Why aren't you one too? If I'm Pep Guardiola, I'm a checkbook manager. If I'm on slot, you won the Prem because you inherited Klopp's side. Someone's always got something to say. There's always some goalpost that's gonna move. So fuck them. Like, fuck them. Pardon my French. But there is that element. And that should vindicate Odegaard. Odegaard should be vindicated because if nobody rates you, if nobody rates your captain's thing, then what's the worst that can happen? They say exactly what they've already said. That's why I want us to be fearless this season. What's the worst they can say? You finish second again, you bottled it again, Arteta can't get over the line, tactics. What can they say about this team that they ain't said already? So rather than succumb to that, let it fuel you, let it vindicate you, let it be liberating. That's just me anyways. So yeah, man. And that's where I need Arteta, you know, when you're playing Saka against Bolton, I would say the one that peed me off the most, I swear it was like 7 goals up or something against PSV. The centre-backs don't need to be out there. There's many different ways you can rest players. Obviously, you can say have the night off, you're not in the match day squad. You might not train necessarily all the time during the week, so you're there for the match day. You might actually just genuinely get rested. But then there's also, all right, there might be 10 games. And, you know, assuming that it all goes to plan, we're winning those, you might take off Magalhaes for 45 minutes here, for example, 20 minutes here, 30 here. And that, before you know it, that adds up to a 90-minute game. You saved his legs. People think Adams, Terry only kind of captains. Henderson was Liverpool captain over Van Dijk. To be fair, I do think Jordan Henderson's probably more of those like traditional captains. Rice more bold on the pitch, but Odegaard is captain for a reason. And even that, let Odegaard have the captain's armband. Magalhaes, you know, if you know that you're the real captain and Rice the same, well, just keep doing what you're doing. Because man are gonna gravitate towards. We've all played Sunday League. Have we all necessarily listened to the captain? No, we haven't always listened to the captain. We all know anyone that's played Sunday League, and I guess the professional game is not too dissimilar. You know who you're listening to. Because there's that realm, yeah, where, like, let's say Declan Rice and Magalhaes, not necessarily them. We've all played Sunday League. There's man that will shout from the start to the finish. No one don't rate what you're saying. No one ain't, rightly or wrongly, no one ain't listening to what you're saying. And then you got them man that are quite silent. But when they speak, everyone listens. And then you get that guy that might just speak to two men, and then they filter the messages. But I do think when we look at football, and especially dynamics around stuff that we're not necessarily exposed to, people forget these men are human. Because you can't just have the shouting thing. And if I'm completely honest with you, man can't sit here and say Odegaard is silent on a pitch. It might not be what I want to see, but come on, you do see him open his mouth. It's only wives and girlfriends that are happy always come in second. Let's keep it 100. The team knows Declan is the one, but won't go over the manager's head. I don't think any of the players will. Well, to be fair, Declan did, innit? Because he hit them free kicks against Madrid. Crazy, man. Crazy. Who says he hasn't learned? He's a professional. He's shown he has confidence in himself. He was once called a failed Madrid project. Where were all these advisors then? Everyone's allowed their opinion. I can't lie though, folks, man. Really? We want to waste our time speaking about this captain thing? Selling thing is overblown. We're not Brighton. We make bare money without needing to sell. I hear you, but this very article, well, this publication, they've said the Cronkies want to get better at selling. We need to get better at selling. We need to get better at selling. You don't know me. I hate to refer to it as this, but it is a business. I think there's scope to make a lot more for our academy talent. I think there's scope to source players that might not necessarily make the grade at our football club, but buy low and sell high. And just, obviously, I don't agree with how people are a bit disingenuous around, I would say, Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus' wages. Because at the time, obviously, maybe could have negotiated a lot less, but it was a different dynamic. The only reason it looks mad is in the years that's passed, they've fallen by the wayside. We've upgraded. The Kai Havertz one, not to get at Kai, that's where I'm looking at it. Because again, some of these players should have never been on these wages. Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson. It's very different because we never made no money, but Ainsley Maitland-Niles, maybe in hindsight, and I wasn't for this, but Smith Rowe, sometimes when these stocks high, we need to know when to sell them rather than the other way. And it is hard to sell players if you're dead, yeah. But how many other teams we've seen sell some players, yeah, and then sell some players, and we're like, oh, bloody hell, how'd they get that for him? How'd they manage that? Nah, man, Eze be cool, man. Eze be cool, man. Eze be cool, man. Eze. Arteta, man, look what they're saying about you. Prove them wrong, man. Prove them wrong. People diss women pundit, bro, is unfortunately, as much as football is a great sport, because one thing I like about this channel and football, it doesn't matter if you're Christian, Muslim, black, white, Asian, whatever in it. Do you like Arsenal? Do you like this team? Do you like football? That's all that matters. Like, and even football on the playground, like, that's why we all love it. It doesn't matter if you're man, woman, black, white. Are you fast? Are you strong? Are you a good player? I want you in my team. Unfortunate. And in the day of division, in a world of division, football brings unity, fans all over the world. Unfortunately, though, I do think football is one of the only kind of realms people can still do their nonsense. We all know what happened with Rashford, Sancho, and Saka. We all know what we see week in, week out. It's not a new phenomenon, but a new phenomenon with social media, people DMing madness. And like you said, where women are concerned, like, let's be honest, like, and that's why I rate Emma Hayes. You gotta have some serious bollocks to be a woman pundit. Well, why for that? But you get the point, because a woman pundit could say Saka's left-footed. No, he's not. Get in the kitchen. No, we know how the nonsense goes, bro. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but unfortunately, it's not gonna go anywhere, man. It's not gonna go anywhere, man. Can't stop watching them Merino goals. If you buy a Prem sports car, but you suck at driving, it ain't the car's fault. What are people expecting from Gyökeres? I can't lie. At this moment, Arteta, I think Gyökeres doing all he can. I think you need to create stuff. Ikitike would have been cold, but it's not here. Team is filled with quality. There's no fall off to Lokonga, Fabio levels. Anyone not performing now, it's on the coaches. I hear it. DJ, I just can't look past Gyökeres' technical ability, and especially since he's now in the Prem. Come on. Is Gyökeres the most technical footballer I've ever seen in my world? Nope. But come on. His technical ability is more than sweet. Let's not move like he's some mad brute. Is he the prettiest? No, but it's so ugly. It's beautiful. Put the ball in the back of the net. We've seen him licking free kicks, pull out wide, bro. It's cool. Provide the man with chances. He's not Haaland. Is Haaland the prettiest footballer? No. Give the man some food. He's gonna eat. That's where we're at. If I want pretty football, and I'm not saying you're wrong, you know, but if I want pretty strikers, man, seen that with Jesus. I've seen that. Put the ball in the back of the net. Simple. That's all I need from you. That's all I need. Put the ball in the fucking back of the net and let's just keep it moving, bro. But to do that, creation. Football still has undertones of sexism and racism, but it's up to us to not tolerate it. Part of it will always be there, but we can make it not socially acceptable. And unfortunately, I think, obviously, I'm not going to say them, but, you know, the slurs that you could say around, you know, obviously, if you're black, white, Asian, woman, we all know how the slurs thing work. It's not to say those are not problems, but I think they're the minuscule problems. It's how it's actually how footballers are being spoken on. It's agendas like Rashford being hounded out. It's these things that are more harmful. It's the language. It's the media. Always say, go and look at Project Mockingbird. You control the media, you control the narrative. You say a lie 10 times, it becomes facts. This current squad should not be sold below 40 million bar Trossard, Norgard, and Kepa. It ain't that Odegaard ain't talking on the pitch. It's more that man ain't leading by example. Games versus Madrid, PSG, man just hid through, then got applauded because he took a shot. I don't think that's fair. Was he amazing? I don't think he hid. I think the 2 games against Real Madrid, I'll be real, man. I think everybody stood up to be counted. Of course, definitely where Madrid's concerned, because I still remember the talking points. Odegaard's the one that you probably needed his own Kivior, Merino, even to a degree, Miles Lewis Skelly moment. He needed to get that. And even that, like, you can't say he didn't stand up, bro. Can we remember Saka dinking the keeper? Can we remember the build-up play? How many times will Odegaard lead the press and encourage his teammates to do the same every single game is what I see. And that's actually something that, nothing with Odegaard, but I need Arteta to keep, but change, bro. Like, my number 10, my 8.5, whatever you want to call it, arguably one of my most creative players in the squad or the starting 11. Man shouldn't be talking about leading the press and that, man. We're saying that with him. It's different, but we're over leveraging the fact that Martinelli's good backwards. And of course, these players have to buck up their ideas, but I do think it in a good way. The positives that this team are a reflection of the manager. The negatives or the areas of improvements are a reflection of the manager. There's been cutthroat ruthlessness with buying direct competition for places now. We need to see improve himself or lose out this season. Just came in to drop a like and bounce. Big up DJ in the chat. Gunner K, my guy, man. Man said, man, get a blue spanner and think they're big meat. Aaron, can we have a day where you're just not fighting someone? My guy. Come on, chat, man. Come on. Last time Odegaard was cooking was when White and Saka were flying. At that time, we also had Xhaka and Zinni, and we've moved on. Time to move on from this now. I must admit, man, I do want to see Eze in that 10 before Martin Odegaard in current form. It's not going to happen. And I wouldn't mind Wanyeri getting exposed. Tony Adams is my all-time favorite player. He's definitely not my favorite pundit, though. And even that, yeah, to a degree, Tony Adams' words were taken out of context with the Odegaard thing. And if I'm honest, whatever forum that was, you've got Tony fucking Adams. Do you know how much good questions you could ask him and bare things? And you want to ask him mundane questions about the captaincy. I get it, rage bait, clip it up 30 seconds clipped up on socials. It's going to get us engagement. We're going to get views in that. Where's the integrity? Everyone's got the answers. Nobody has the right questions. Oh, well, it's never going to change. I hear you, Dino. You're not wrong. As I said, he wouldn't be my captain. You know what? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not on talking about this captaincy stuff now. I don't know how we got here. Big up you lot, man. And I think that's the annoying thing. Losing to Liverpool just before the international break, we've had to sit in this feeling, man. Judging Gyökeres after 3 games is cringe. When do we judge players after 3 games? Not to mention he scored 2 and 3 as well. You're asking football fans to be logical? All this talk about Gyökeres' technical ability, have they ever watched a training session? Everyone has to be a certain level. You can't hide. As long as he puts the ball in back in it, I don't care, man. You could be the ugliest thing since sliced bread. When does Haaland score dribbles like Gyökeres? Haaland is a 1980s 4-4-2 long ball striker. He's an A-grade Andy Carroll. Bit harsh. Even now, I'd have Haaland. Gyökeres / Calafiori bulldozer settings required sometimes. Fans try to blame poor form on him having a ute. I remember. And then they made up a story that he's due ankle surgery in the summer. That never happened. Just made up lies and excuse for poor form. It's in society, though. Football just reflects society facts. Things aren't as bad as decades ago, but there's still racism and sexism. It's never going to change, bro. Like, it's just one of the problems of humanity, innit? Rather than celebrate everybody's differences and not think we're better than anyone or you should talk down, unfortunately, it's going to happen, innit? And what I think is scary, just in life, you don't know who thinks what, you know? Like, you could go to the doctors, you could go to the nurse, your favorite chip shop, but you don't know what people really think, you know? Really think. It's scary, man. Football and sport in general, yeah, I keep saying football, but sport has stopped wars, right? Humans were simple creatures, you know. But these things are never going to change, man. A part of human nature is dark facts. That's just the way it is. Word to Tupac, man, but it is what it is. On that note, though, man, why waste you lot's time, man? I've been here for 90 minutes. Don't know how we got here, but it's testament to you lot, people. If you lot don't talk, engage, support is dead. If you ain't pressed the hype button, make sure you do that. Unfortunately, I'm going to done this off now, but if you weren't here earlier, I had lead judges on the platform, so go and check that out. Most importantly, people, make sure you lot stay safe, stay blessed, stay in good health. Appreciate you lot, the family members. We've got 70,000 subs. Hopefully we get to 100K before not too long. So yeah, man. And I would say to Mikel Arteta, let the players play. Some players just can do things off the cuff. And I don't know who they are, but here's an example. Dino, rise up.